Captain Jaewon Kim stood on the bridge of the Defiant Dawn, watching the distant flashes of light that marked another battle in the endless war. For 6 months now, his ship had been hiding in the shadow of a dead moon, observing the 3 alien fleets tear each other apart across 17 star systems. The war had been going on for over 2 years. 3 massive alien empires, the Keltharian Empire, the Voss Collective, and the Nithran Federation, were locked in a brutal fight that had already destroyed dozens of planets. Each side had weapons that could crack worlds in half and shields that could stop the energy of a star. Their ships were huge, some the size of small moons, carrying millions of warriors. "Captain," said Lieutenant Do-Yun Park from his weapons station, "the Keltharian fleet is moving toward the Voss position near the 4th planet. Should we get closer to record the battle?" Jaewon shook his head. "We stay here. Our job is to watch and learn, not to be seen." Dr. Mina Lee looked up from her science station. "The energy readings from their weapons are incredible. A single shot from their main guns has more power than our entire nuclear arsenal back on Earth." "And yet they can't win," said Communications Officer Yuna Shin. 6 months of watching, and none of them can break the stalemate." Jaewon nodded. The alien fleets were powerful beyond anything humanity had ever seen, but they were also predictable. They fought the same way every time. Massive formations, direct assaults, honor-bound tactics that had probably worked for thousands of years. But those same tactics meant they could never surprise each other. "Sir," Yuna continued, "I've been listening to their communications. They barely acknowledge our existence. The few times they mention humans, they call us flesh-spawn primitives or metal toy builders." Engineer Hunwoo Choi laughed from his station. "If only they knew what this ship can really do." The Defiant Dawn didn't look like much compared to the alien warships. It was only 2 kilometers long, small enough to fit inside the hangar bay of a Keltharian dreadnought. Its hull was dark gray metal with no fancy energy shields or glowing weapon ports. To alien eyes, it probably looked like a primitive chemical rocket. That was exactly what Earth's military wanted them to think. Admiral Sora Yoon had been very clear in her orders before they left Earth. "Let them underestimate us," she had said. "Let them think we're just curious primitives with metal ships. While they fight each other, we learn how they fight. When the time comes, we'll know their weaknesses better than they do." Tactical analyst Kyung-Min Jang spoke up from his station. "Captain, I've finished analyzing the battle patterns from the last 3 months. All 3 fleets follow the same basic strategy. They group their ships into massive formations and try to overpower their enemies with raw firepower." "What about their weaknesses?" Jaewon asked. "They're predictable. They fight with honor codes that make them telegraph their moves. They never retreat, even when it would be smart. And most importantly, they've never had to fight an enemy that doesn't follow their rules." Dr. Mina Lee added, "From what I can tell, these 3 empires have been fighting wars the same way for thousands of years. Big fleets, big guns, big explosions. They've never encountered an enemy that fights to win instead of fighting to prove who's stronger." Jaewon smiled grimly. Human military history was full of smaller forces defeating larger ones through better tactics, better information, and the willingness to do whatever it took to win. While the aliens fought like knights in a tournament, humans fought like hunters tracking prey. "Sir," Yuna called out, "we're getting a transmission from the Keltharian patrol ship Velthar. They're demanding we identify ourselves. Put them on screen." The main display showed a tall reptilian creature with golden scales and 4 arms. Its voice was deep and commanding. "Unknown vessel, you are in a restricted war zone. Identify yourself immediately." Jaewon stepped forward. "This is Captain Jaewon Kim of the Earth ship Defiant Dawn. We are observing the conflict from neutral space." The alien commander laughed, a harsh sound like rocks grinding together. "Humans? The flesh-spawn primitives think they can watch a real war? Your metal toys have no place here. Leave immediately or we will remove you." "With respect, Commander, we have as much right to be in neutral space as anyone else." "Rights?" The alien's eyes flashed with anger. "You speak of rights while real warriors fight for dominance. You are insects playing with chemical rockets. Leave now before you are accidentally destroyed." Jaewon's crew watched him carefully. They all knew this moment would come eventually. For months, they had hidden and watched while the 3 alien fleets destroyed each other. But Earth's plan had always been bigger than just observation. "Commander," Jaewon said calmly, We're not here to leave. We're here to end this war. The alien commander stared at him for a long moment, then burst into laughter. You? You think your primitive ship can end a war between the galaxy's greatest empires? You have perhaps 100 crew members. We have millions of warriors. Your weapons are chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Ours can shatter planets. Size isn't everything, Commander. Spoken like a true primitive. Very well, flesh spawn. When you realize how outmatched you are, remember that we gave you the chance to flee. The transmission ended. Do-hyun looked at his captain. Sir, should we prepare for combat? Not yet. But start running diagnostics on all our special systems. And tell engineering to prepare the Ghost Protocol. Hyunwoo grinned. Ghost Protocol, aye, sir. They're going to be very surprised. Dr. Mina Lee pulled up the latest intelligence reports. Captain, based on their communication patterns, I think they're going to inform the other two fleets about our presence. They'll probably try to coordinate a response? Good, Jae-won said. The more they focus on us, the less they focus on each other, and the more time we have to complete our real mission. Kyungmin looked confused. Sir, our real mission is observation and intelligence gathering. Jae-won smiled. That was Phase 1, Lieutenant. We've spent 6 months learning how they fight. Now comes Phase 2, showing them how we fight. Over the next few hours, reports came in from across the war zone. The Keltharian Empire had indeed contacted the other two fleets. For the first time in months, the three enemies were communicating with each other instead of shooting. They were discussing the human problem. Captain, Yuna reported, I'm picking up transmissions between all three fleet commanders. They're treating us like a common threat. Perfect. Nothing unites enemies like a mutual target they all underestimate. Dr. Mina Lee studied the alien communications. They're sharing their databases on human military capabilities. From what I can see, they have records of our ships, our weapons, even our tactical doctrines. The ones we wanted them to see. Jae-won corrected. Remember, every piece of information about human military technology that's available to galactic databases was carefully selected by Earth intelligence. Do-hyun realized what his captain meant. They think they know how we fight. Exactly. They've studied human conflicts from the past 1,000 years. They know about our kinetic weapons, our chemical explosives, our nuclear technology. They think they understand human warfare. Hyunwoo called out from engineering. Captain, all special systems are online and ready. The Ghost Fleet is in position and awaiting orders. Ghost Fleet? Kyungmin asked. Jae-won looked at his tactical analyst. Lieutenant, what's the first rule of human warfare? Kyungmin thought for a moment. Never fight fair if you can help it? Close. The first rule is always have a backup plan. And a backup for the backup. The Defiant Dawn continued its silent watch as the three alien fleets began to move. For the first time in months, they weren't moving to attack each other. They were all converging on one target. A single human ship that they considered nothing more than an annoyance. As Jae-won watched the massive alien formations approaching, he felt calm. Earth had spent decades preparing for this moment. Humanity had always been good at surviving against impossible odds. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do when they stopped pretending to be primitive. The war was about to change forever. Commander Vexhai of the Keltharian Empire stared at the data screens in his command chamber. For the past 12 hours, every major fleet in the war zone had been sharing intelligence about the human ship. What he saw troubled him in ways he couldn't explain. War leader, his intelligence officer reported, we have compiled all available data on human military capabilities. Their technology appears primitive compared to ours. Vexhai examined the files. Human ships used metal hulls instead of energy-forged materials. Their weapons were kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives rather than plasma or antimatter. They had no energy shields, no gravity manipulators, no quantum computers. By every measure, they should be centuries behind galactic civilization. Then why? Vexhai asked slowly. Do our tactical computers rate them as a potential disruption factor? His officer had no answer. Meanwhile, across the war zone, War Master Quilnick of the Voss Collective was having similar concerns. The spider-like alien studied human military history with his compound eyes, trying to understand what made these creatures dangerous. Tactical assessment complete, War Master. His analyst reported. Humans lack the technology for standard galactic warfare. However, their combat history shows unusual patterns. Explain. They have never fought a clean war, War Master. Every human conflict in our databases shows the same behavior. They use deception, misdirection, and asymmetric tactics. They treat war as a problem to solve rather than a test of strength. Quillneck's mandibles clicked nervously. Show me examples. The data screens filled with human battles from across their history. Small human forces defeating larger ones through ambush and trickery. Human armies winning by attacking supply lines instead of fighting directly. Human fleets using decoys and electronic warfare to confuse enemies with superior technology. They fight like prey animals, Quillneck muttered, but prey animals that have learned to hunt. In her crystalline command spire, Supreme Tactician Rendala of the Nithran Federation was reaching similar conclusions. The tall, elegant alien studied human tactical doctrine with growing unease. Analysis complete, Supreme Tactician, her strategic computer announced. Human warfare doctrine does not conform to standard galactic patterns. Elaborate. Galactic warfare emphasizes honor, direct confrontation, and technological superiority. Human warfare emphasizes victory through any means necessary. They prioritize intelligence gathering, psychological manipulation, and adaptive tactics. Rendala felt a chill. Her people had fought wars for 10,000 years, always following the same noble traditions. Fleet met fleet in open battle. The stronger side won. The weaker side died with honor. It was the way war had always been fought, but humans seemed to have missed that lesson entirely. Aboard the Defiant Dawn, Dr. Mina Lee was monitoring alien communications with growing satisfaction. Captain, all 3 fleets are sharing intelligence about us. They're trying to understand how we fight. And what are they learning? Jaewon asked. Exactly what we want them to learn. They have access to thousands of human battles from our history, but only the ones Earth intelligence wanted them to see. Engineer Hyunwoo Choi looked up from his station. The beauty of it is everything they're seeing is true. We really did fight those battles that way. We really do use those tactics, but they don't know about our new capabilities, added Tactical Analyst Kyungmin Jang. They're preparing to fight the humans. 100 years ago, Communications Officer Yuna Shin smiled. I've been monitoring their tactical discussions. They keep using phrases like dishonorable and uncivilized to describe human warfare. Perfect, Jaehwan said. Honor and civilization are luxuries for species that can afford them. Humans learned to survive first and worry about honor later. The truth was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since first contact with galactic civilization 50 years ago. When human explorers discovered they were the newest and weakest members of a galaxy full of ancient, powerful empires, Earth's leaders made a simple decision. They would not compete with alien technology. Instead, they would develop their own advantages. While aliens built bigger guns, humans built better intelligence networks. While aliens created stronger shields, humans created more sophisticated electronic warfare systems. While aliens followed ancient codes of honor, humans studied every possible way to win. Dr. Mina Lee explained it to the bridge crew as they watched alien fleets positioning themselves. The 3 empires have been fighting the same war for thousands of years. They've perfected their technology, their tactics, their honor codes, but they've also become predictable. Like a chess game where both players know every possible move, Kyungmin added. Exactly. Now imagine introducing a player who doesn't know the rules, doesn't care about traditions, and only wants to win. The alien fleets were massive beyond imagination. The Keltharian Empire had brought 800 warships, each one larger than a human city. The Voss Collective deployed 600 vessels with weapons that could boil oceans. The Nithran Federation positioned 400 ships with shields that could deflect solar flares. Against this force of over 1,800 warships, humanity had sent 1 ship with a crew of 97. Sir, Do-hyun reported, I'm reading energy spikes from all 3 fleets. They're charging their main weapons. Let them, Jaehwan said calmly. Remember, they still think we're just 1 ship with primitive weapons. Yuna intercepted more alien communications. Captain, they're coordinating their attack. All 3 fleets are going to fire simultaneously to make sure we're completely destroyed. And what will happen when they fire? Hyunwoo grinned. They're going to be very confused when their sensors can't find any debris. The Defiant Dawn had capabilities that no alien database contained. Earth scientists had spent decades developing technology that aliens couldn't imagine because it was based on principles they'd never considered. While galactic civilization advanced along predictable lines, bigger ships, stronger weapons, better shields. Humans had focused on being unpredictable. Ghost Protocol is standing by, Hyunwoo reported. All decoy systems are ready. Stealth field generators are at full power. Transmission coming in from all 3 fleet commanders simultaneously, Yuna announced. They want to speak with you, Captain. Put them on screen. The main display split into 3 sections, showing the 3 alien commanders who had spent years trying to destroy each other. Now they were united in facing what they saw as a common threat. Commander Vexhai spoke first. Human Captain, you have entered a war between civilized species. Your presence is an insult to warriors who have fought with honor for millennia, War Master Quillneck added. We offer you one final chance to withdraw. Leave now, and we will pretend this never happened. Supreme Tactician Rendala finished the ultimatum. Remain and you will be destroyed. We do not wish to waste ammunition on primitives, but we will not tolerate interference in galactic affairs. Jaehwan looked at each of them calmly. Commanders, I appreciate your concern for our safety, but we're not here to interfere in your war. We're here to end it. All 3 aliens began speaking at once, their voices mixing in angry confusion. Silence, Vexhai roared. You dare claim you can end a war between the galaxy's greatest powers? Your ship is not even large enough to serve as a shuttle on one of our vessels. Quillneck clicked rapidly. This is madness, Rendala said coldly. You have 97 crew members. We have millions of warriors, Jaehwan smiled. Numbers aren't everything. In 72 hours, this war will be over. You can surrender now and save your fleets, or you can learn why Earth's history books are written by survivors, not heroes. The 3 commanders stared at him in disbelief. You threaten us? Vexhai's scales flashed red with rage. I'm informing you, Jaehwan replied. Earth doesn't make threats. We make promises. Quillneck's mandibles clicked in what humans would recognize as nervous laughter. Very well, primitive. You want to end our war? We will show you how wars end in civilized space. The transmission cut off. Sir, Kyungmin said quietly, 3 fleets with over 1,800 warships are now moving to attack us. Are we really going to fight them all? Jaehwan looked at his crew. 97 humans aboard a single ship, facing the combined might of 3 galactic empires. Lieutenant, what's the second rule of human warfare? Never let the enemy know your real strength until it's too late to matter? Exactly. They think they're attacking one ship. Jaehwan's smile grew wider. They're about to learn that humans count differently than aliens. Dr. Mina Lee checked her readings. Captain, based on their approach vectors, they'll be in weapons range in 18 hours. Perfect. That gives us time to show them the difference between galactic warfare and human warfare. As the massive alien fleets converged on their position, the crew of the Defiant Dawn made final preparations for a battle that would change the galaxy forever. The aliens thought they were about to crush an annoying primitive ship. Instead, they were about to learn their first lesson in how humans really fight. Not with honor, not with tradition, but with intelligence, adaptation, and the absolute determination to survive. The 3 alien fleets arrived at the coordinates where the Defiant Dawn had been waiting. 1,800 warships arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around the human vessel. Their weapons trained on the small ship that floated calmly in the center. Commander Vexhai studied his tactical display with satisfaction. The primitive vessel is trapped. There is no escape. War Master Quillneck clicked his approval. Finally, we can dispose of this annoyance and return to our proper war. Supreme Tactician Rendala observed the formation with cold precision. All weapons are locked on target. One synchronized volley will ensure complete destruction. But aboard the Defiant Dawn, Captain Jaehwan Kim was remarkably calm. Status report. Lieutenant Do-Hyun Park checked his weapons console. All systems green, Captain. Targeting solutions calculated and ready. What's our target priority? Asked Tactical Analyst Kyungmin Jang. We're not targeting their ships, Lieutenant. We're targeting their formation. Dr. Mina Lee looked up from her science station. Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildups from all 3 fleets. They're preparing to fire everything they have. Let them charge their weapons, Jaehwan said. The longer they take, the better our position becomes. Communications Officer Yuna Shin intercepted alien transmissions. Sir, they're coordinating the attack. All 3 commanders want to fire simultaneously to guarantee our destruction. Engineer Hyunwoo Choi called out from his station. Ghost protocol is ready, Captain. All systems are standing by. Not yet, J1 said. Let them commit to their attack first. The alien commanders began their final countdown. 1,800 ships powered their weapons to maximum charge. Energy readings spiked across the entire region of space. In 30 seconds, they would unleash enough firepower to crack a moon in half. 20 seconds to firing, Vexhai announced. 15 seconds, Quillneck added. 10 seconds, Rendala counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire! 1,800 ships fired at once. The combined energy blast lit up space like a small star. Plasma bolts, antimatter torpedoes, and quantum disruptors all converged on the exact position where the Defiant Dawn had been floating. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. When the energy cleared, the alien commanders expected to see nothing but scattered atoms. Instead, they saw the Defiant Dawn floating exactly where it had been, completely undamaged. Impossible, Vexhai roared. Our sensors show direct hits. Check your targeting computers, Quillneck clicked frantically. All weapons struck the target coordinates, Rendala said coldly. Yet the ship remains. Captain J1 opened a communication channel to all 3 fleets. Impressive light show, commanders. Now let me show you how humans fight. Do-Yun, Jae-Hwan said quietly. Execute firing plan Alpha. The Defiant Dawn fired a single missile, not at any of the alien ships, but at a precise point in space between the Keltharian and Voss formations. The missile exploded in a brilliant flash that temporarily blinded sensors across the region. When vision cleared, something impossible had happened. The Keltharian flagship was on a collision course with 3 Voss destroyers. Evasive maneuvers, Vexhai shouted, but it was too late. The massive ships crashed into each other in a spectacular explosion that damaged dozens of nearby vessels. How? Quillneck demanded. Our ships were in perfect formation. Jiwan's voice came over the communication channel. Rule number 1 of human warfare: never fight the enemy where they expect to fight you. But you only fired 1 missile. Rendala protested. 1 missile precisely placed can do more damage than 1,000 fired randomly. The truth was that Do-Hyun had calculated the exact gravitational effects of the missile explosion. The brief energy burst had created a tiny gravity well that pulled both fleets slightly off course, just enough to cause collisions between ships that had been flying in perfect formation. Yuna, Jae-Hwan continued, begin Phase 2. Suddenly, the communication channels of all 3 fleets erupted with chaos. Messages that each fleet thought were private were being broadcast to their enemies. The Keltharian fleet heard Commander Vexhai's secret orders to betray the temporary alliance and attack the Voss ships after destroying the humans. The Voss Collective heard War Master Quillneck's confidential plan to use the confusion to strike at Nithran supply lines. The Nithran Federation heard Supreme Tactician Rendala's classified strategy to eliminate both enemy fleets while they were focused on the human ship. Within minutes, the 3-way alliance against humanity collapsed into mutual suspicion and rage. You plan to betray us, Vexhai accused. You speak of betrayal while planning the same, Quillneck shot back. Honor means nothing to either of you, Rendala declared. As the 3 fleets turned their weapons on each other, Captain Jae-Hwan activated the next phase of his plan. Hyunwoo, initiate Ghost Protocol. Full activation. Ghost Protocol active, Captain. Welcome to the real war. Across the battle zone, space began to shimmer. What the aliens had thought was empty vacuum suddenly filled with ships. Hundreds of sleek dark vessels materialized as their stealth systems deactivated. The Defiant Dawn had never been alone. Impossible, all 3 alien commanders shouted at once. Where did those ships come from? Vexhai demanded. Dr. Mina Lee smiled as she explained to the bridge crew. They've been here for months, just like us. Small, stealthy, and completely invisible to their sensors. The alien fleets found themselves surrounded not by 1 human ship, but by over 400 vessels they had never detected. Each ship was small by alien standards, but they had been positioned with surgical precision throughout the battle zone. Captain, Kyungmin reported, the aliens are trying to reorganize their formations, but our Ghost Fleet has disrupted their command structure. How? Jae-Hwan asked, though he already knew the answer. Each of our stealth ships has been sitting next to their command vessels for months, recording everything and jamming their long-range communications at precisely the right moments. The three alien fleets tried to regroup, but found that their ships couldn't communicate with each other effectively. Orders were being garbled, intercepted, or delayed. Fleet formations that had been perfect suddenly became chaotic. War Master Quillneck realized the horrible truth first. They've been studying us, learning our patterns, our communications, our tactics. Supreme Tactician Rendala came to the same conclusion. Every battle we've fought for the past 6 months, they've been watching and recording. Commander Vexhai felt a chill of fear. They know how we fight better than we do. The human fleet didn't attack the alien ships directly. Instead, they used precisely calculated strikes to force the three fleets into increasingly chaotic positions. Every shot was designed to create specific reactions, pushing alien ships exactly where the humans wanted them. "This isn't warfare," Rendala whispered. "This is orchestration. They're conducting us like a symphony." Captain J1 opened another communication channel. "Commanders, you're learning the difference between fighting to prove strength and fighting to achieve victory. What do you want?" Vexhai demanded, his earlier arrogance completely gone. "I told you 72 hours ago, I want this war to end, and if we refuse, then you'll learn why humans spent 6 months studying your tactics instead of attacking your fleets." To demonstrate his point, Jaewon nodded to Do-hyun. The weapons officer activated a pre-programmed sequence that had been months in the making. Across 17 star systems, human stealth ships that had been placed near critical alien installations began transmitting override codes. Supply depots opened their airlocks to space. Communication relays shut down. Shipyard facilities locked their construction arms in place. The infrastructure that supported the 3-year war began failing simultaneously. How is this possible? Quillneck clicked frantically as reports flooded in from across Voss space. "You invited us to observe your war." Dr. Mina Lee explained over the communication channel. "We observed everything. Your ships, your bases, your supply lines, your computer networks. We've been learning your systems for months. While you fought each other," added Hyunwoo, "we figured out how everything worked." The three alien commanders finally understood what they were facing. This wasn't a primitive species with metal ships and chemical weapons. This was a force that had weaponized intelligence itself. "You turned learning into warfare," Rendala said with something approaching admiration. "We turned warfare into problem-solving," Jaehwan corrected. "And your war was a problem that needed solving." The alien fleets floated in space, their formations broken, their communications disrupted, their supply lines cut. They could still fight, but they could no longer fight effectively. "What happens now?" Vexhai asked quietly. "Now," Captain Jaewon Kim said, "we talk, because the first phase of the human solution is complete. You can no longer fight each other the way you used to fight. The old war is over." "And the new war?" Quillneck asked. "There won't be one, because Phase 2 is showing you that cooperation is more effective than conflict." As the three alien fleets struggled to comprehend what had happened to them, the human ghost fleet maintained perfect position around them, not threatening, but clearly in control. For the first time in galactic history, 3 major powers had been defeated not by superior strength, but by superior thinking. The 3 alien commanders stared at their tactical displays in growing horror. What they saw made no sense according to everything they knew about warfare. Across 17 star systems, the infrastructure of 3 galactic empires was systematically shutting down. Supply convoys found their routes blocked by precisely placed asteroid fields that hadn't been there the day before. Communication networks carried messages that arrived hours late or not at all. Weapons manufacturing facilities discovered that their production lines had been subtly sabotaged months ago. "This is impossible," Commander Vexhai whispered, as he watched his empire's logistics network collapse in real time. "Our security systems are impenetrable." War Master Quillneck's compound eyes tracked hundreds of failure reports flooding his command center. "They're not attacking our defenses. They're attacking our assumptions." Supreme Tactician Rendala felt something she had never experienced in 10,000 years of warfare: complete tactical helplessness. "They've been inside our systems for months. Learning, mapping, preparing." Captain Jaewon Kim's voice came over the communication channel, calm and patient. "Commanders, you're witnessing the difference between galactic warfare and human warfare." "Explain," Rendala demanded. Dr. Mina Lee took over the explanation. "Galactic warfare is about proving superiority through strength. You build bigger ships, more powerful weapons, stronger defenses. Then you meet your enemies in battle and see who's stronger. That is how civilized beings conduct war, HFY protested. That's how civilized beings conduct contests, Dr. Mina Lee corrected. Humans don't fight contests. We solve problems. Tactical analyst Kyungmin Jang added his analysis. Your war has been going on for 3 years because you're all equally matched. You follow the same rules, use the same strategies, fight with the same honor codes. That's why nobody can win. The problem with your war, engineer Hyun-woo Choi explained, isn't that you're fighting each other. The problem is that you're fighting to prove who's strongest instead of fighting to achieve actual goals. Quilnick clicked his mandibles nervously. What goals could be worth abandoning military honor? Survival, Captain Jaewon answered simply. Growth, progress, peace. The alien commanders fell silent as more reports arrived. Human stealth ships throughout the galaxy were revealing themselves not to attack, but to demonstrate just how thoroughly they had infiltrated every aspect of the 3-year war. How many ships do you have? HFY asked quietly. Enough, Jaewon replied. But that's not the right question, Commander. What is the right question? The right question is, why didn't we attack you 6 months ago? Rendala considered this. Because you wanted to understand us first. Partly. But mainly because we wanted you to understand yourselves. Communications Officer Yuna Shin activated a new display that showed the tactical situation from a broader perspective. The 3 alien fleets could see their positions, their movements, their strategies from the past 3 years laid out in perfect detail. What you're looking at, Yuna explained, is every battle you fought since this war began. Study the patterns. The alien commanders studied the data with growing realization. Every battle followed the same basic script. Fleets would form up in traditional formations, exchange long-range fire, then close for decisive engagement. The winner was determined by who had more ships or better technology at the critical moment. You're predictable, Kyungmin observed. You've been fighting the same battle over and over for 3 years, with different ships and different locations, but the same fundamental approach. Honor demands consistency, Quilnick protested. Honor demands victory, Jaewon corrected. What's honorable about a war that never ends? Dr. Mina Lee brought up another display showing resource allocation across the 3 empires. While you've been fighting each other, your civilizations have been stagnating. Scientific research has stopped. Exploration has ended. Cultural development has ceased. You're spending everything you have on weapons to destroy each other. This is the cost of war, HFY said defensively. This is the cost of bad war, Hyun-woo replied. When humans fight, we fight to win quickly and efficiently. Long wars are failures of strategy. The truth was becoming clear to all 3 alien commanders. They had been trapped in a cycle of mutual destruction that benefited no one. Each side fought to prevent the others from winning, but none had fought to actually achieve victory. What do you propose? Rendala asked carefully. First, we stop the immediate problem, Jaewon said. Yuna, activate the stand-down protocol. Across space, the human ghost fleet began broadcasting on all frequencies. Every ship in the 3 alien fleets received the same message simultaneously. Detailed technical specifications for every vessel in the opposing fleets. Weapon capabilities, shield frequencies, reactor outputs, structural weaknesses, everything needed to destroy any enemy ship with a single precisely placed shot. What have you done? HFY demanded. We've created perfect mutual deterrence, Yuna explained. Every ship in your fleets now knows exactly how to destroy every other ship instantly. Fighting is no longer possible without guaranteeing mutual annihilation. Quilnick studied his tactical display in amazement. You've made war too dangerous to fight. We've made your kind of war impossible to fight, Jaewon corrected. Honor-bound, formation-based, predictable war. Now you'll have to find other ways to resolve your differences. And if we refuse, Dr. Mina Lee smiled grimly. Then you'll learn about human warfare doctrine number 7, which is, if an enemy insists on fighting a war they can't win, help them lose as quickly as possible. The alien commanders realized that the humans weren't bluffing. The Ghost Fleet had been positioned not just to disrupt their current battle, but to completely dismantle their ability to wage war at all. Supply lines, manufacturing centers, command networks, everything that supported their military forces was now under human observation and control. You've conquered us without firing a shot, Rendala observed. We've solved the problem you created, Jaewon replied. Conquest implies we want to rule you. We don't. Then what do you want? We want you to stop wasting the galaxy's resources on pointless destruction. Admiral Sora Yoon's voice suddenly joined the communication from Earth. Commanders, this is Admiral Sora Yoon of the Earth Defense Fleet. I'm transmitting detailed proposals for ending this conflict. Constructively, the three alien leaders found their screens filling with data they had never seen before. Maps of unexplored star systems rich in resources and suitable for colonization. Technical specifications for technologies that could benefit all three species. Trade agreements that would make cooperation more profitable than conquest. This is what humans were doing while you were fighting. Admiral Yoon explained. We were mapping the galaxy, studying your needs, and developing solutions that benefit everyone. Why? Vexai asked. What do humans gain from helping us? Peace, Jaewon answered. A galaxy where resources are used for growth instead of destruction. Where different species learn from each other instead of trying to eliminate each other. Quillneck studied the colonization maps. These systems, they could support billions of my people. And the mining rights in this sector could supply our fleet construction for centuries, Rendala added, looking at different data. The agricultural worlds here could feed our entire empire, Vexai realized. All of this is available, Admiral Yoon said, but only if you stop wasting resources on fighting each other. The three commanders looked at each other across their communication screens. For the first time in 3 years, they weren't seeing enemies. They were seeing potential partners in projects that could benefit all their species. There's enough space and resources in the galaxy for everyone, Dr. Mina Lee explained. The only reason you've been fighting is because you assumed conflict was inevitable. Humans learned long ago that cooperation is more efficient than conquest, Kyungmin added. You can take what you need by force, or you can trade for more than you need by working together. And if we agree to this? Quillneck asked. Then the real work begins, Captain Jaewon Kim replied. Building a galaxy where different species enhance each other instead of threatening each other. And if we refuse? Jaewon's expression grew serious. Then you'll discover that everything you've seen so far was just humans being polite. The three alien fleets floated in space, surrounded by the human ghost fleet, their war machines neutralized by perfect intelligence rather than superior firepower. For the first time in galactic history, peace wasn't being imposed by the strongest force. It was being offered by the smartest one. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just fight differently than other species. They thought differently about what victory actually meant. 3 months later, the massive space station New Harmony floated in neutral space, its construction bays busy with an unprecedented project. Ships from 4 different species worked side by side, building something the galaxy had never seen before. A permanent diplomatic facility designed for cooperation rather than conquest. Captain Jaewon Kim stood in the observation deck, watching Keltharian engineers work alongside Voss technicians and Nithran scientists. Human supervisors moved between the groups, not giving orders but facilitating communication and solving problems that arose when different species tried to work. Together, status report, he requested as Admiral. Sora Yoon joined him at the viewing. Port. Better than we hoped, Admiral Yoon replied. The ceasefire has held for 91 days. No major incidents, and the minor ones have been resolved through negotiation rather than violence. Dr. Mina Lee approached with a data pad full of statistics. The resource surveys are complete, Captain. We've identified over 200 star systems that can support large-scale colonization without any species competing for the same worlds. And the trade negotiations? Ambassador Taehyun Lim reports that all 3 species are willing to establish formal trade relationships. The Keltharians want our agricultural technology, the Voss need our manufacturing techniques, and the Nithrans are interested in our information systems. Jaewon nodded with satisfaction. What about their military forces? General Soman Ko has been working with their commanders to redesign their fleets for exploration and colonization instead of warfare. It's going slowly, but they're adapting. The transformation hadn't been easy. 3 species that had fought for millennia didn't suddenly become friends overnight. But fear of human capabilities had motivated them to try cooperation, and the benefits of working together were becoming obvious. Sir, Communications Officer Yuna Shin called from her station. We're receiving a transmission from the Keltharian flagship. Commander Vexai requests permission to address the station. Put him through. The main display showed the Keltharian commander, but he looked different than he had 3 months ago. His scales had shifted from the angry red of warfare to the calm gold of contemplation. His posture was relaxed rather than aggressive. "Captain Kim," HFY began formally, "I wanted to report on the progress of our colonization survey in the Kepler sector." "Go ahead, Commander. My fleet has identified 12 worlds suitable for Keltharian settlement. However, 3 of them would also be ideal for Voss industrial development, and 2 have mineral deposits the Nathrans need for their technology." Jaewon waited. 3 months ago, this situation would have led to battle. Now it was becoming a test of the new galactic order. "With your permission," HFY continued, "I would like to propose a joint colonization effort. The Keltharians could handle agricultural development. The Voss could establish manufacturing centers, and the Nathrans could manage the mining operations. Have you discussed this with the other commanders?" "Yes, sir." War Master Quillneck and Supreme Tactician Rendala have both agreed to the proposal. We've learned that cooperation produces better results than competition." Admiral Yoon smiled. "Approved, Commander. Dr. Mina Lee will provide you with the latest human colonization protocols to help coordinate your efforts." After the transmission ended, Professor Jinwoo Nam joined the group at the viewing port. "It's remarkable how quickly they've adapted to cooperative thinking." "Fear is a powerful motivator," Jaewon observed. "They know what happens to species that insist on fighting humans. But it's becoming more than fear," Dr. Mina Lee added. "They're starting to see the practical benefits of working together." The truth was that the 3 alien species were discovering something humans had learned centuries ago. Collaboration was more efficient than conflict. When the Keltharians shared their advanced agricultural techniques with human colonies, food production increased dramatically. When the Voss applied their manufacturing precision to human designs, the results surpassed anything either species could achieve alone. When the Nathrans combined their crystalline technology with human computer systems, the resulting processors were revolutionary. "Captain," Engineer Hyunwoo Choi called from his station, "I'm receiving a priority transmission from Earth. It's marked for your eyes only." Jaehwan moved to a secure terminal and activated the message. Fleet Admiral Park's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Kim, congratulations on the success of Operation Galaxy Peace. The ceasefire has exceeded all expectations, and the cooperation agreements are being used as models for future diplomatic efforts." Jaewon waited for the rest of the message. "However, we have a new situation developing. Long-range scouts have detected activity in the Outer Rim, unknown vessels possibly from outside the galaxy. We need the lessons learned from your mission to prepare for potential first contact with an entirely new species." The message ended with coordinates and departure orders. Jaehwan realized that the Galaxy Peace Project was just the beginning of humanity's role in galactic affairs. "Admiral," he called to Sora Yoon, "new orders from Earth. We're needed for another diplomatic mission." "Where to this time?" "The edge of the galaxy. Possible contact with extragalactic species." Admiral Yoon looked concerned. "Are we ready for that?" "We're as ready as we can be. The question is whether the galaxy is ready." Before departing, Jaewon called a final meeting with the 3 alien commanders. They appeared on screen together, something that would have been impossible 3 months earlier. "Commanders, I'm being reassigned to a new mission. Admiral Yoon will be taking over coordination of the Galactic Cooperation Project." "Where are you going?" Rendala asked. "To meet new neighbors. It seems the galaxy is about to get more crowded." HFY leaned forward. "Captain, before you go, I have a question that has been troubling me." "Ask." "Why did humans choose cooperation over conquest? Your species had the power to dominate the galaxy. Instead, you taught us to work together." Jaewon considered the question carefully. "Because conquest is temporary, Commander. Eventually, conquered peoples rebel or the conquerors become weak, but cooperation builds something that lasts." Quillneck clicked his understanding. "You think in longer terms than we do. We think in permanent terms. When humans solve a problem, we try to solve it forever." "And what if these new aliens you're going to meet don't want cooperation?" Rendala asked. "Then they'll learn the same lesson you learned. Humans prefer peace, but we're very good at war." The 3 alien commanders exchanged glances. They had seen what human warfare looked like. They didn't want to imagine what would happen to a species that forced humans to escalate beyond the polite restraint they had shown. "Captain," HFY said formally, "the Keltharian Empire, the Voss Collective, And the Nithran Federation pledged to maintain the peace you helped us build. And if you need assistance with these new aliens, Quillneck added, our fleets stand ready to support human diplomatic efforts. Thank you, commanders. But remember, the real work isn't maintaining peace with humans. The real work is maintaining peace with each other. As the Defiant Dawn prepared to depart for the edge of the galaxy, Captain Jaewon Kim took one last look at the space station, where 4 species were working together to build something unprecedented. A lasting peace based on mutual benefit rather than mutual fear. The galaxy had learned its first lesson about humanity. They were dangerous to fight and valuable to know. Now the universe itself was about to learn that same lesson. In the hangar bay, Dr. Mina Lee ran final checks on the ship's upgraded systems. Captain, all the new technology from our 3 allies has been integrated. We're carrying the best of 4 civilizations. Good. We'll need every advantage we can get. Do you think the new aliens will be hostile? Jaewon smiled as he settled into the captain's chair. Dr. Lee, in my experience, most species are reasonable once they understand their options clearly. And if they're not reasonable, then they'll learn why the galaxy calls this ship the Defiant Dawn. Because sometimes, dawn comes whether you want it or not. As the ship departed for unknown regions of space, the 3 alien fleets that had once been locked in eternal war worked together to guard the peace. They had learned that cooperation was stronger than conflict, that intelligence was more valuable than weapons, and that sometimes the best way to win a war was to convince everyone to stop fighting. The galaxy was no longer frozen in ancient patterns of conflict. Thanks to humanity, it was finally free to grow,